Welcome, everyone. We are excited to have you here as part of the Pathlock Innovation Series. Our session right now is a holistic approach to your IT security within SAP. Our presenters today are Clemens Guter and Raphael Kelbert, and they will introduce themselves in just a moment. But first, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. If you have any audio issues during this webinar, please click on audio on your control panel, and from there you can see if you're using the appropriate audio device. This presentation will take approximately 45 minutes. There will be a Q&A session following the presentation, so please type any questions into the questions box that you'll find on your control panel, and we will make sure to answer those at the end of the event. To prevent background noise, everyone is on mute. We also have more sessions coming up throughout the day. I'll put a link in the chat to the next session coming up and then our full agenda. If you would like to join any of those sessions, I encourage you to register for those. And with that, I'll turn the time over to Clemens and Raphael.
Thank you, Stephanie. So I'll step in first. My name is Raphael Kelbert. I'm product manager here at Pathlock for threat detection and response. And yeah, glad to have you here in the call and to talk today about how you can build a holistic approach to your IT security within SAP.
Thank you, Raphael, and also welcome from my side. Clemens Gütter, my name. I'm from Pathlock, Germany, and I'm the product manager for vulnerability management, code scanning, and transport control. And we want to drive you today through the topic. And I think, Raphael, you want to start with a little real-life example.
Yeah, exactly. To the begin, I brought a small example for today, and because we are talking about SAP security or security in general and the holistic approach in here, it's just an opener here. There's the question: what does a fish and IT security have in common? On the first place, I think there's nothing in common between a fish and IT security. And yeah, of course, you can make something in between here. For that, Clemens, please, on the next slide, we have some explanation on that. And the common thing here is that there was in 2017 a big casino hack somewhere in Las Vegas, and the hack was done by adding or entering an IoT device in a fish tank. So there was a fish tank in the casino, and in the IoT device in the tank was to monitor the pH value of the water and the clearness and things like that. And if there's something not in the common state as it should be, the algorithm kicks in and automatically ensures countermeasures like adding some acid in the water for the pH value, or some basic powder to stabilize the pH value, or if the glasses are not see-through able anymore, they called the cleaning team and they kicked in. And someone was so creative to check out that there is this kind of IoT device in the fish tank, and the IoT device was not really well secured from the manufacturer side. And so the person was able to enter through VLAN to the IoT device, and then from the IoT device it was possible to reach out to the network, and from the network to the databases in the back. And then they got like 10 gigabyte of data, and they were sent somewhere to a device in Finland with an IT connection. And that is more to explain here. It is possible to hack a system, and each system can be hacked. It just depends on how creative are you in doing that. And here's a good story. So whenever you go alongside a fish tank and you see some small technical device in there, you can try with the VLAN and check if you can connect to the device, and then you can hack the casino as well. So that's just a small step for real life example. What is hacking and what it is about? And with our approach, with the holistic approach, with the IT security, we are trying to provide countermeasures and some defense walls, firewalls for you. Uh, that you're safe against such kind of attacks within your SAP and from SAP to other security aspects in the company as well. Clemens, maybe you can go to the next slide.
Sure.
And for that, I will start to explain what is hacking or why does hacking exist, what it is for. For that, on the next slide, we see 4 little pictures, and that's nearly explains all about why does hacking exist. Hacking is about to get first of all financial information. That was the first idea about hacking, and then otherwise you want to have some results, business data, maybe blueprints from products, or even just enter a system. So it could be possible that you do not have such common bad thing in mind, but you want to have access to a system, and maybe there is a use for the access later on. You don't need that in the first step. But you want to achieve some kind of information or data, mostly with financial interests in the back. But hacking is not just hacking. There are different types of hacking, and for that I brought a small definition. So we see hacking is not the same as hacking. Hacking is in general, first of all, to get access to a system, computer, network, something like that in without authorization and that. But here we are talking about bad hacking. There are some kind of white hackings as well. So you can say if you're working for a company as a hacker and your goal is to hack the system to make the company aware about severity issues or severe issues, and they can ensure countermeasures so that it is not possible to use that kind of hack. You find out it is possible, then you're a good guy. So hacking is not a bad thing in general, but every person who is possible to hack, even if it's good or a bad one, they need to document their work, and even the good one, they need to document the work. And once such a kind of documentation is done, they will put that out. But as well, a thing of hacking, and that's why I put it in the shield in the right in big letters, is social engineering. And social engineering is something that does not mean you're hacking a system. It means you're hacking a person, or you're hacking a social environment. That means you will bring people to do some things they will normally not do. That's in companies one of the biggest issues, because you can't handle it with technical countermeasures. You can detect such things, but social engineering is something like when you have your wife at home and someone is trying to get your business data, and they use your wife at home to bring you to the point that you will extract the data and hand the data over. The company will not have a chance to go through that, but you can detect such illegal things on your system, and then you can set up countermeasures against such things as well. So social engineering is one of the biggest things you can't handle with technical things. The other things you can detect and scan, mostly with technical measures. And then I would say we can go through the next slide. And on that slide here, we see why SAP systems are so interesting for hackers or for people to get on the systems, because you have several different systems, like you have your ERP system, then maybe you have your HCM system, you have your Soulman or your BI system, and in each system you have kind of different data. stored, and you have your own roles and permission on each system, but all the systems are connected via RFC connections. At least the solution manager nearly is connected to each of your systems in the landscape, because you want to monitor these systems with your solution manager. That means when there's access to one of these systems, like with the IoT device in the fish tank, you can use the connections and the network errors, network connections to get through your landscape and get access to other systems. So normally you will start to pick out the weakest system in a landscape, and then you try to enter the weakest system in such a SAP landscape, and then from that you will go through stronger defense systems and work through the network and hope that you will find a path as a hacker. So that is why SAP systems are so common to hack, because you have a lot of systems. Some systems are not so well secured as others, and at least nearly all the cron jewels of your company are stored in your ERP system. So all the data are available within your SAP environment. Or if you don't have SAP, it's the same for Oracle landscapes. In Oracle, in your ERP landscape, all the data, business critical data, are there, and that's why it's interesting to get access to these systems. And regarding there's some industry concerns come out here, and I think Clemens, you can just jump over the between slide. What it is about. So there are 5 points which are really interesting in companies from kind of the last security reports we find out, and that's first of all data loss or data breaches. So that 74% of the breaches are involved to access to privileged accounts, and that means even if you have a good account a role concept for you, you sometimes need account with higher privileges, and need all the data breaches are like 74%, so 3/4 of the data breaches are done with such kind of accounts. And that means even if you enter a weak system first and then you go through other systems, you will always try to get access to a privileged account to do such kind of activities. That's the structure. And as well, to pick out one other number from here, compliance findings, $2 million are the average yearly cost of fines and penalties due to non-compliance. And that means you as a company, you have to make sure that you fulfill all the compliance requests which the government sets to you. Sometimes you need to do that just in one country, but if you're a multi or international company, you need to fulfill as the US compliance standard, as well as maybe in Europe, maybe in somewhere in Middle East, and each country has different levels of compliance, and you have to make sure that you will not just do that on your standard basis. You have to comply, people compliance on in the whole landscape. And of course, if you don't do that, you get a fine. And that's the $2 million average yearly, which companies have to pay for such kind of things. And as well, system outages. When you see that over $50K per hour, that will cost when your ERP system has the downtime. And sometimes you have to plan downtimes, like for service and updates and things like that. But that's plannable, and you're calculating with that. And it's worse when someone hacks your system and you cannot enter the data. Your business is not running, and that costs you a lot of money. And as you see, that's overall 50K per hour, what it costs in average. So, and there are as well project delays and reputation damage, so that you will lose kind of trust. And for the reputation damage, we had a big thing in the US with Microsoft. There was a hack on Microsoft, and some people started then a shitstorm. Shall I trust Microsoft with authentication services and second factor authentication to put that in the cloud of Microsoft when they are not making sure that my data are protected in there? And so Microsoft lost a lot of companies and a lot of trust here in the market, and that they are a good player, even if they are so big as they are. And they have to struggle a lot to keep the trust back from the people. So that's industry concerns, and we're trying with our approach that you will be not going into that, but I think more later here on the holistic approach now. And I think we will start with a short video here. Now we need your attention because you have to count people getting subs, but I think the video explains it pretty well. So please, Clemens, press the play button. So now we have the solution here as well, and I hope you counted 7 people as well, which got some kind of subs. But what it had, or what we want to show with the video, I think we'll explain that later, because there's another thing. The video has a second sequence, and we will look at that later. But first of all, I hope you counted 7 people got subs from the in orange shirts got subs, and if not, that's not a big thing, and you will notice why that's not a big thing that you have not counted 7. But let's go over to the next slide. Yeah, the NIST cybersecurity framework, and as I said before, you need to fulfill compliance regulations, and that is the NIST cybersecurity framework is such kind of a compliance framework, and here we at Pathlock can help you to fulfill 3 of 5 areas. Maybe in future we will have 4 as well. But yeah, first of all, if there's some cybersecurity risk, you need to identify that. And for that, you have your asset management, business environment, governance, risk assessment, and risk management strategy. And with that, you identify risks. And then when you identify that and you have defined all the things in there, then you need to protect such kind of things. So you need to protect critical assets. You need to protect your business critical data. You need to protect your system accesses and things like that. So in all these areas, you need protection. And once you set up these protection shields and you have the awareness and the trainings about what is the data to protect, what are the processes to protect, and you know which technology you're going to use for that, then you need to detect if there's a breach. So you have to detect anomalies and events, and then you have to set up a continuous security monitoring, which detects vulnerabilities as well. And you need several kind of processes in here for the detection. And then you need a response on that as well. So if you detect something, something like an anomaly or a security breach, you need a response plan on that and a way to respond on that. You need ways to how to communicate. You need fall back plans, and as well. There could be the strategy to implement mitigations. If you say there is a risk, and if that happens, I accept the risk behind that, but you need to be aware about the risk. If you don't know the risk, you are not compliant here in that point. And yeah, the last point then here in the cybersecurity framework, you need to recover, and that means when something happens and your system maybe is down, how to yeah, reset up your system, how to back up your system. So you have to make backup plans, recovery plans, and as well here improvements. So that's not a one-way thing. Once you there was a security breach or something like an anomaly was detected, and you've installed your response, you in the recover phase you will try to improve so that the security breach will not happen again. So that's always a continuously working framework, and you start in the begin to the end, and then you start from the scratch again. So you always improve your concept behind it. And yeah, as I said, Pavlok, we can support you on several levels, especially in the protection, detection, response, and maybe on recovering later on as well. Yeah, but so far we have these things here. And how do we do that? With our holistic approach. The holistic approach is key to success. And your security is always just strong as the weakest link in the chain. And that's again, it's like the picture from the fish tank with the IoT device. When someone hacks your weakest point, in that case, it was the IoT device, it's an entrance point. And from there, people can navigate. People can find other ways. And if they are blocked in the first stage, that's perfect, but mostly they will find a way to expand in your system once they are entered the door. And for that, we say you have a lot of chain parts in SAP, how you have to set up security. And that's first of all to set up a rule-based access control. So everything about rules and permissions and things like that. And on top of that, once you have done that, you can set up something like, we call it dynamic access control or attribute-based access control, that you say on defined attributes, you will set up dynamic accesses. So like someone's logging in from an IP address, which is not typically assigned, or an IP area, which is not assigned to that user. Normally the user has the right to see things, but since he's logging in from somewhere out of your typical areas, you say you can enter the transaction, but you're not allowed to see the data in there. So everything is blocked. Or even the access is restricted, so we can block the access in total. And that's what we are handling with dynamic access control. And then, of course, in SAP, everything is organized by own code or transport and customizing. And for that, you need to secure your own code, because no one's caring about security if you don't do that in your own coding and in your own enrichments for SAP. And that's on you to ensure code security in SAP extensions, at least in your own ones. And vulnerability management, here we can detect, or you have to detect all open vulnerabilities known in SAP. And for that, there are several open vulnerabilities. At least SAP offers you each second Tuesday in a month. They will send out a report with new or updated security information, the security notes. And with these notes in there, there's something like a hacking guideline. So they define there's a weak point, and they show you a solution on that. But if you want to use that in a bad kind of manner, you can use that, of course, to hack an SAP system, or at least to get access or more information on an SAP system, the users in the landscape, and so on. So that is what you can detect on vulnerability management, as well as parameters and settings which are made wrongly or maybe not so strong, where you can improve a bit. And and then transport security. Each SAP system is based on transport. So when you want to install something in your SAP landscape, you need to put that as a transport in here. And here we want to jump in later a bit deeper, how we can make it a bit more secure for you. and to secure your transport landscape here. But yeah, we will see that later. And then we have threat detection as well as one chain chain part here. And threat detection means that you detect a behavior of your system and your users in the system in real time and detect anomalies in here, and that you are aware about things happening in this landscape. So it's the last line of defense, and then mostly the action is done already, but you can detect it and you can make a forensic analysis, and you can skies the note down the path an attacker or an hacker took while entering your system, and then you can block that for the next time. So that's typically what you need for the improvement part here. First of all, that's about how the holistic approach looks out from our side in SAP. But SAP is just one chain part in your whole landscape again. So all you're doing here in SAP must be aligned with your total holistic security approach for your company. So, and for that, maybe it's interesting for you to export things to a CM tool to combine that with events or threats which you find out with network information or things which are not available in the SAP system. Maybe you want to monitor all your vulnerabilities in one global team, and then you need to export that as well. Or you have a coding team or code security team, which is responsible not only for SAP, but as well because you're thinking it better to work together in teams. They will cover your Java applications or Python coding as well, and then you can send all the information to that one team. Of course, it's different languages, but maybe sometimes you can enrich knowledge here and share information, and that helps a lot. So it's always good to think how to start with your SAP system, but then how to expand that and how to integrate such kind of things in your global landscape. Or you make it the other way around. You have a global security policy, and then you drill down to your SAP system and think how what is necessary to secure my SAP system regarding my policies, and then you go through the steps here and assign the policies you have and use the different chains. But sometimes you recognize then there's one chain part missing, and you can readjust that, or you're thinking about different things in SAP specific area as in global one. Clemens, I think I would hand over to you right now, that you will jump into the live demo and go through path-lock transport control and explain us this.
Thank you, Raphael, for your comprehensive overview about the holistic approach. And it's actually my pleasure to show you something and to make the more living part of it. And it's not transport control we show, Raphael, it's a holistic view we show, but we start with a transport. And before I go into the system, I just want to frame a little bit the scenario you will see in the next couple of minutes. So you already know what is the issue. As Raphael said before, your SAP system is one of your crown jewels. In the most cases, the most critical business data is within the SAP system, and so on. So it's really important to have this in mind. It's one of the important parts of your system landscape. On the other hand, it's about 50% of all attacks or security incidents are based on insider attacks. And the scenario I will show you is one developer created a program which is creating a new user and assigns them sub-all and sub-new. And in the first step now, we disabled all countermeasures. So I can just import it, and since I added to a transport it as well as an extra For those who don't know what Expra is, it's a self-executing report. This means in the meantime, while it is imported into the system, it's also executed already. And the issue is I will get an user called hacker in the client 000 of the system. I think all of you know a user with sub all in the client 000 is quite problematic. And after I show you that I get the system access, I will show you how you could have prevented it or at least detected it with the countermeasures Pavlok provides. So you see how this holistic approach can work. Yeah, that's the idea. And so I jumped directly into the SAP system. I prepared it already on the development system. I'm now on the test system to have the transport. I just don't know if I refreshed the import queue. No, I didn't. I have here my transport, Pavlok Innovation Series demo, and I think we can have a look into it. I called the program setcg my system, and I have this program run after transport included. Nothing more, but this is the critical point. Let me just import it and go, and yes. So this will take only a second until it's imported, and the execution takes like 10 seconds or something like this. Yeah, it's already imported. And what I can do now is go onto the system, client 000, user hacker, and it got the passwords that will start 1, 2, 3. Need to get a new password. And so you all believe me, what happened here is I go to client or not client to transaction SU 01 and just show you what happened here. We have a user. It was created at 7:30 p.m. It's here in Germany, it's this time. And the profiles are all sub new, as I said. And if you want to believe me, I can also show this user was created right now. It was created also sometime before already for other demos, but it's, as we said, right the time I deleted it beforehand. So I think everyone understands this is a problem. But what can we do as a countermeasure? First of all, I want to show you in threat detection what you can do. And here for I will log in into the system and directly start with the event monitor. If you want to have a more detailed view into all the applications provided by Pavlok, I can recommend it other webinars. This will not be part of this meeting here, but what do we have? I have here an event monitor. It's an overview about all events which are run. I already filtered them by my test system, client 000, and the user DATIC, because the import execution of this Expra is done on the client 000 and by the user DATIC. First problem, because DATIC has a lot of authorizations and he's able to do this. And what he has done, you can see really good here, because the user was only deleted, it's also an unlock of the user. Unfortunately, in the system, it's on German, but I just detected a couple of minutes before, so I'm sorry, but the text here on German. But it's the user, hacker, and the profile sub new, and user hacker profile sub all, and it was assigned. And here we would have the first or the last wall of defense. It's based on the threat detection. But this is just like an alerting, and it might be too late at this point. So what could we have done before to understand what happened? And here I can show you as part of our transport control how transport control handled it. If I go to the dashboard, it's currently not available in Fiori, but it's on the agenda for you. I have this transport. If you remember, it's the right one. I prepared it an hour before, and it was blocked originally in the export. However, since I had development rights on the system, I added myself onto the trusted framework, and I was able to. For the import purpose, I disabled it on the system, otherwise I couldn't have made a demo, but the first line of defense would have been based on this finding. The second thing, which is also part of the transport control, I can simulate, or got one step behind, I can simulate what happened on the import control with the SOC scanning. And then I will get a response that you have on the one side this expra, and this expra is critical. And on the other side, you have also code scanning active in combination with the transport control, and it detected that we have here critical objects in. And this critical objects in this case is create a new user and sub all sub new. But so we have at the end 3 levels of defense, which would be given by the Pavlok holistic approach. Each approach alone could be overruled, or you can bypass it, but all together it's quite hard to bypass. And this was the story I wanted to tell as of now.
Yeah, Clemens,
and let's jump.
may I ask one thing here? When we are not allowing such kind of transports and we block that, I think we can monitor that in the threat detection as well. So even if there are such kind of trusted users or something like that, we detect that and we protocol that in the threat detection area. Or if there is something changed in here, we detect that and put that in threat detection area so that all the changes are documented. And so the fallback is always running. I think I want to just add that in here. When you have more than one line of defense, if you just have the transport control, you don't have the second line with the logging and things like that in threat detection.
Thanks for the addition.
Yeah.
So let me just jump back to the presentation for quite a moment. As Raphael promised, there's more to this video. I think you remember the 7 subs, you already see it, but have you also detected that in the background happened some things? And I think let's just start with the video first, and afterwards I will tell you some things to this. So what is the point behind? I think it's pretty clear you can't focus on everything. And what does it mean? You need technical support on your security. Because if you have to focus on something, you will always miss something, because human being is not able to get everything. We are always focused on one thing. And yeah, the bottom line here is you need an holistic approach to get the full picture and to detect the patterns you can't see as a human being.
Yeah, and I think as well, even when you focus on something, and that is good sometimes to focus on something, you need a fallback which detects in the back that there are some background activities. So you can say, in that case, I want to focus on importing my transport, but even if transporting and the transport queue is saved, I want to have the fallback that everything is documented in the threat detection area, and I can analyze that later in the threat detection area if there was something suspicious ongoing which was not covered by my yeah, the things I installed first line. So that's as well where you can see the holistic approach is kicking in, and that I think that counts for not only the transport control. I think we have other parts in the chain as well where we can use that. Or Clemens?
I think everything is somehow connected to everything, and therefore all parts of our solution can somehow be a safety net for the other way. So you're always sure you have a second line of defense.
I think now we can jump to the next slide. We see the chain again. And yeah, now we saw transport security and threat detection, how that works together, as well vulnerability scanning or vulnerability management, threat detection work together. You saw transport control and code security work together because transport containing code, and you can check the coding as well within that. And I think then in the vulnerability management, when you're setting up your landscape and you're trying to close all the doors and locking the windows and things like that, what is worth locking all the doors and securing that when you have no door at all in your home because you did not install the patches. And I said that in the beginning that we have a patch day each Tuesday, and for that of course we offer then a solution integrated in all that you can easily scan your patch management. And Mike, you can show the patch management dashboard once more here in the second live demo part. Oh,
sure, but to be fair, it's not every Tuesday. It's only every second Tuesday a month.
Yeah, every second a month. So for that, yeah.
And we are referring to the SAP Security Patch Day. Yeah. The last point, as Raphael mentioned already, I think it's even better if you say if you have a brick in your wall, a break in your wall, what doesn't matter if you have safety doors. If you can just go through the wall. And so it's really important to have your security patch organized. And what Pathlock is doing, that we allow you to automatically collect data for your security patches. And if I, for example, go into detail, we have first this overview page where you can see which systems are in scope and what is the scope of the missing nodes. Here on this the development line, we have not installed all things. For example, also to show something and to test something. And if I now swirl into it, I get a comprehensive overview about all missing nodes, and especially what is the vulnerability vector out of it to understand how critical is this problem. There's also an indication if there are manual activities needed, if you need to change some authorizations, some kernel updates needed. And so you have like a work list for your basis team, for your whoever is responsible, the asset owner. And so you have always in your in a dashboard and report about what is the status of the whole system regarding the security patches. And closing with this, we think it's one of the important topics that you are always patched. And I think there's one last slide.
Yeah, that's the takeaways for you. First of all, keep sure your people in the company are aware about security. That's the main thing you have to do. First of all, is creating awareness, and then yeah, design a multi-layered security strategy, not only focusing on SAP, but focusing on the whole company security landscape. So all application in there. But SAP sometimes is a bit more specific, so might look in a bit deeper here. Yeah, then don't be afraid to ask what if. So always re-ask what if when we do that. What if we're missing that? What is when yeah, something happens? So always ask what if, and do not yeah, hesitate to ask such things. And yeah, implement the fail safes as well. And yeah, of course, yeah, interconnected security solutions should be part of your strategy. And as Clement said, you cannot do that manually. You need technical security solutions in here, and best is when they work hand in hand together over all layers and levels. And yeah, that's what we want to give you for today. And might there are some questions left, we can might try one.
Okay, we just have about 1 minute for questions as we have another session starting in just a minute. But I put some links in the chat to our next session and our full agenda if you would like to look at that and join our next sessions. We'll just go through one question here, and then if you do have any more questions, we'll be sure to answer those. And you can reach out to us at info@pathlock.com. Our question is, when implementing a holistic SAP cybersecurity strategy, which of the components outlined today are most critical to establish first?
I think the most critical ones are the ones which are the easiest for you. So it does not care with which part of the chain you start. You should start with the chain part which is the most easiest for you to grab, and then start step by step to enrich it.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, we'll end there. Again, if you have any more questions, please reach out to us at info@pathlock.com. We appreciate you coming to this session, and we hope to see you at future sessions. And thank you to Clemens and Raphael for this presentation.